A very warm welcome to this video. I will be speaking to you about 4 tips that can help you to build a better CV. Let's go. The first impression of a CV is always the name of the college in which the student is enrolled and what is the CGPA of the student. The name of the college, obviously it cannot be changed now, but what can be changed, what is always under the control of the student is what is the CGPA of the student. And speaking about what does the student want to do after the 4 years of the degree, any degree, the CGPA is often very important. For example, when one applies to elite companies, CGPA often becomes important. If the student wants to apply to an elite business school for an MBA, it is very important. And also, when you apply to an above average university for an MSc or MS degree, CGPA is often important. In many countries, admits for MSc and MS degrees are given in a way that the CGPA of the student has a very high weightage in the admission and selection process. If you want to know more about the impact of CGPA in your CV, you can view one of my older videos. The link is somewhere here and also in the description below. Now we'll talk about the more important parts of this video. Internships are one of the most important parts of your CV because they often allow you to explore other areas. Basically, there are 4 locations in which a student can intern. The first setup would be large companies, like you have Asian Paints for the engineering side. For the investment banking side, you would have a company like JP Morgan. Some other companies would be like many Indian as well as the multinational companies. Like we have Bosch for mechanical engineering. Yeah. The second location within which a student can intern are startups. Now, obviously, I am not going to name a startup because there are so many startups around us in various parts of India. But you can use LinkedIn to find such startups. You can use Internshala. You can use AngelList. Now we move on to the 2 specific areas within which a student can intern. The first one would be a lab which is being run by a government organization. For example, ISRO is having labs all over India. We have CSIR and DRDO which have labs all over India. And then what is also very important, what is the second area in which a student can intern, are educational institutes and the business schools which also undertake research. You can intern at IITs, NITs, you can intern at IISc Bangalore, you can intern at specific institutes like you have the TIFR. In fact, I had interned at MNIT Jaipur, and I also got to basically understand the process of doing academic research. I was able to write a paper which has been published in an unpaid journal. Now, understand that if you are a student in a local engineering college of your city, having an unpaid journal paper or having a paper in an unpaid journal is almost impossible during the 4 years of engineering. So my internship also allowed me to gain experience of hostel life, but more importantly, it also gave me a glimpse of how academic research works. It also offered me a chance to be able to write a paper for an unpaid journal. Then internships can also be done at business schools. One of the seniors in the IT department of my college, she had interned at the IIM Ahmedabad in a business role. I myself had approached SPJN in Mumbai, the SPJIMR, the entire name SPJIMR. But things did not go very well, and I decided to intern at MNIT Jaipur. Yeah, one more thing. There are some very specific government organizations, like you have the Niti Aayog. One can at least try to find an internship there. One of the seniors in the mechanical engineering department of my college, he had interned at the Niti Aayog office in a data science role, and he said that it was very interesting. Now let's move on to one more part of this video, or one more part of your CV. Extra courses and MOOCs, or massive online open courses, allow you to explore other areas which may not be possible in your college. For example, I was a mechanical engineering student and I want to understand how materials work. Like honestly, I wanted to understand the basics of materials engineering, and NPTEL and Coursera helped me a lot. Let's just say that if you are an electrical engineering student and if you are wondering that what area you would want to do an MBA in finance, or maybe an MSc in economics, MBA in marketing. So to explore these other areas apart from your main subject of study, these courses are extremely helpful. Portals like NPTEL and Coursera and Udemy are extremely helpful. In fact, NPTEL and Coursera, all the knowledge is free. Only if you want to give the exam, or you want a proof that you have studied, you want a certificate, only then you have to pay the fees. So the knowledge itself is free. And NPTEL, you don't even have to go to the NPTEL website. You have to go to the NPTEL page on YouTube, the link of which is in the description, and the links are here also. I myself have done around 3 to 4 NPTEL courses and have done around 7 to 8 courses on the Coursera platform. And for those people who realize that they have taken engineering by mistake and they are really interested in economics and finance, and I assume they are very serious about it, the National Stock Exchange and the Bombay Stock Exchange, they offer a variety of courses. One of my friends has done one of those courses, and he says that it is a very good way to start learning about the finance and economics area. Now moving on to the most unique part of the video. Having a paper in a conference organized by an elite publisher, or having a paper in an unpaid journal managed by a high quality publisher, it is one of the best things that you can have in your CV. Now, I do not mean to have a bias against any publisher, but a few specific publishers are extremely respected across all countries in all disciplines. Like we have Springer and Elsevier. We also have a publisher abbreviated as T&F. Now understand that getting a paper in a journal run by these publications is almost impossible if you are a student in a local engineering college of your city, or any local college in your city for any degree. But what is not very difficult is to get a paper in a conference which has been organized in association with these high quality publishing houses. To be very honest and to be very blunt, IIT Indore had organized a conference in association with Springer, and I have a paper there. And also a local college in Hyderabad had organized a conference in association with Elsevier, and I have a paper there as well. Like in these conferences, I have at least 9 to 10 papers which have been presented at a conference, and I have only one paper in an unpaid journal, which makes sense because I did not have enough opportunities to be able to write a full scale paper. and understand that a paper really shows that you have a substantial knowledge of some specific topic within a given discipline. And basically, for those people who are looking to switch fields, like let's just say you are a mechanical engineering student and you want to study material science, or you are a civil engineering student and you want to switch in economics, or maybe you want to do an MBA at an elite business school and your CGPA is not very good. So having a paper in the area to which you want to move really helps. Like if you notice, majority of my papers, I have tried to include some part of material science, materials engineering. For example, if you aim to do an MSc in economics, you could have a basic paper somewhere about some specific topic of economics, maybe game theory, maybe microeconomics, some topic in economics. You could have a paper talking about business practices, some specific topic that you are interested in. So this really appeals to the admission committee or whoever is in charge of the selection and admission process, that you have been continuously trying to learn about a field of study and now you want to do a master's degree in that field of study. And there has been a very big misconception that papers are written only in the exact sciences like physics and chemistry. But a paper can be written in any discipline whatsoever. It can be a pure science like physics, chemistry. It can be economics, business, finance. It can be something like your core engineering, mechanical, electrical. It can also be in the overlapping areas when you have a subject which includes both. Like you have a materials engineering discipline, you have a nanoscience and nanotechnology discipline, which encompasses engineering as well as science. You can have a paper literally in any discipline, and a paper always shows that you know about the research process. Yeah, which is very, very important, that you always have made an attempt to understand things at a deeper level. So I think I have covered 4 points in detail: importance of CGPA, importance of internship, importance of doing extra courses and MOOCs, importance of having a paper in a journal or in a conference. So basically at the end, what I want to say is that I hope this video helps you in some way. Like you could be a student in the first year of engineering. You could be a student in the third year of engineering. Watch this video carefully, and a big thank you if you have been watching the video until now. Take help from it and start doing something, like start doing an extra course on NPTEL, start doing a course from NSE, BSc, start writing a paper. No matter how many semesters you have pending, make an attempt to improve your CGPA. Try to do at least a small 1-month internship somewhere in a discipline that you are interested in. Like this video if you think that this video has helped you. Share this video with anyone who is looking for ways to improve their CV. Share this video with anyone who you know has just started his college degree. It does not matter which discipline, BA, BCom, BTech, BE, MBBS. Just share this video with them. It may help them. And if you have any doubt, you want to know something about me, you want to know what approach have I taken to build my CV over 4 years, you maybe want to know what mistakes did I do in the entire process, maybe you want me to include something like you say that even this activity can be helpful, I can do this activity also to add more meaning to my CV. Leave a comment there, other people can also learn from it, and at the same time it will add much more meaning to my life if you basically give a subscribe to my channel. I want you to subscribe, I want you to squeeze that bell icon, so whenever I make such a video, it will reach to you immediately. It really motivates me to make more videos of this kind. It helps me to grow my channel. when you like my videos, you comment on my videos, you share on my videos. If any one of y'all is interested in higher studies in Europe, I have a few videos for that area. The links are in the description and also here. And in the end, if you all comment any doubt, any suggestion, within the next 2 weeks, I'll be uploading a video where I talk about my CV. I will be showing you my CV in a detailed manner. I'll be explaining everything. I'll be explaining what fonts you can use, what are the important parts of a CV, what is the ideal length of a resume, what is the ideal length of a CV. I'll be talking to you about how did I find all the conferences in which I have a paper. I will be talking with you what approach have I taken to secure the internships that I have done and I am doing right now. So all those things are lined up. I have one video lined up wherein I show you my CV, and I also have one video lined up where I talk to you about what is the scene and how to choose a country for doing higher studies. What factors should you take into account when you decide for a country for higher studies? So I hope this video has helped you. Bye and thank you.